All right, we are live. I'm excited.
Yes,
This is
yes,
freaking awesome.
yes.
I am truly excited to be sitting down and talking with you today. I've got so many things I want to talk to you about.
Cool.
And I was lucky enough to be able to stop in the other day and have a cup of coffee and meet a colleague there and talk to you for a minute. So welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing really, really well.
Good.
I'm excited to talk about Kitty Brew today because obviously I had an opportunity to stop in there. I love what you're doing. I love the idea,
Thank
and I want you to be able to communicate that to our audience and to the public here in Mason. And so, why don't we start off talking just a little bit about you and your background, and then we can transition into talking about Kitty Brew.
Okay, so I got my undergrad from Miami, and I was a Spanish major. So then I got into law enforcement. I was a misdemeanor probation officer for a while. Then I worked at a drug rehab facility, and then I moved on to felony probation for a few years, and that was a lot of fun. I just had a career change, and then I went to do investigations at CPS, where I dealt with kids that were, abused, neglected, and such, and it was really sad. But along the way, we were able to try to help the kids and the families as best we could. But, the animals were getting left behind. So I would have families ask me, to take their pets or, if they needed food and that kind of thing. And most of them weren't spayed or neutered. So I ended up kind of getting involved that way with the, kitty cats and puppies and a baby raccoon once.
A baby raccoon.
Yes, yes. So when I worked at CPS, I ended up finding a family of kitties that had lived outside of the building for a few years and got everybody trapped and got everybody fixed. And so that's when the addiction set in to help, animals, because it was all the excitement and thrill of hunting, but nothing died. So it just became a lot of fun. And then I had my daughter, and one of the things we would do on Friday nights was watch Shark Tank, and somebody pitched a cat cafe to the sharks. And I was like, this is a real thing. And, did some research, talked to Ken about it. He initially said I was crazy. And yeah. I'm like, oh, that's typical. I'm not, that's usually the response when I have an idea. Whoop. Lost my earpiece. But he looked around and thought it would be really cool. So, 18 months of hard work and being told no. And then I come to beautiful Mason, Ohio, and everything just fell into place. And I can't say enough wonderful things about the community and, the local government here. Everything just fell into place here, and it's been awesome.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. So let's back up to and you know what's interesting? I find that you went into the private sector, right? And you did some law enforcement stuff. And but do you feel like at your core, or if you're being true to yourself, do you feel like you've always been an entrepreneur?
Honestly, no. This whole realm scared me. When I was a PO and then worked at Children's Services, there was set, job description, and this is what you would do every day. And I considered myself very meticulous and efficient. And then opening a business, I walk into my office some days what has transpired in here? Because you make up the rules. You only have to report to the health department and the tax man. So just trying to maneuver that. And I'm not really good at delegating because I have control issues. So just learning how to do that. But the crew that I have here is so trustworthy. So it definitely sparked something within me, because I would have never imagined this 10 years ago. Would have never thought of it. I thought I was going to retire from Butler County, probation or Children's Services. So,
yeah. Well, and what's really cool is I can tell that you're truly living your passion now, because it just, you exude that, and so very few of us get to actually do that, and so you're living your dream right now. What's really cool though too is that how that connection was made, right? That it was just you initially started off, you were helping people. And as a byproduct of that, something stood out to you is that these people were getting help, or at least the help that society was providing, all the pets were being left behind, and so you saw a need and you filled that need, and so that's what you're doing right now, and by doing that, you're living you're living your passion. And
Yes.
so, but I'm curious, like, so talk about like the inner workings of how like you go from the private sector into being an entrepreneur, right? You said when you told Ken that he you got laughed at, right? And so tell me the logistics of how that actually happened, because at some point you had to say, okay, I'm all in on this.
Yes.
And I'm like, and so did you slowly transition? In other words, did you keep your other job and then slowly transition, or did you just like rip the Band-Aid off and like you went and opened it?
It was definitely a slow transition because at the time, my sister had passed away and she left me a little bit of money. So I was able to stay home with my daughter for 10 months, which was amazing. That was the busiest I've ever been. So, shout out to the stay-at-home moms and dads because that's a full-time job. But the first thing was to do a business plan. So I had to figure out how to do that. And since I wasn't, working a ton, I went to this program called Self, and it was in Hamilton. And Mark Langford was an amazing instructor and helped me develop a business plan because that's what a bank wants to see. That's what a landlord wants to see. So that took some time. And then I went back to children's services full time for maybe 3 or 4 months, and then dropped down to part time to focus on taking care of my child, and then, working out the logistical nightmare of, cats and people and trying to convince a bank or trying to convince a landlord that we had an idea and it was going to be successful and we were going to take care of their property and we were going to pay them back, those kinds of things. So
Sure.
This earpiece is just not wanting to, it doesn't want to follow the rules. So we'll just use one.
That's okay.
Yeah. So that took a long time. And we went to all different cities, they told us no, or they wanted to, zoning was always really difficult. But Mason, it just made sense. So, But it was definitely a slow process.
Was it, if you can remember back to that, can you remember being terrified or scared, or were you just so like you couldn't even feel that because like you were so like involved in like getting this done? Do you remember how that was?
Oh yeah, it was terrifying. I'm a Virgo. Oh, hi, Beauty. Hi. She wants to say hi.
Perfect.
So I'm just normally anxious anyway. So it was definitely terrifying. I was definitely scared. If I had any quiet time, if my daughter was sleeping, I was like calling people. I'm like, come here. Trying to get rescues to work with me. So it was definitely terrifying. And the night before we had our grand opening, we had a friends and family night. And at the time I only had, and I say only because 12 cats in a 1,900 square foot space really isn't a lot. But everybody left and I was like, that was a success. And then I hear 2 cats just beating the crap out of each other. I go in the litter room, there's litter everywhere, there's food and water, and I just sat in the middle of it and cried. I'm like, this is going to be a flop. Like, why did I leave my job? And, that was terrifying. But luckily they just kind of worked it out. We moved things around and positioned things where like the cats would feel like they had to compete with stuff. So, and we still changed things, but in that moment I was like, I'm doomed.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we all have our bumps and bruises. How long have you actually been in business now?
It will be 2 years on April 9th.
That is awesome. And
Yes.
You're getting, what's really cool is you're getting great reviews. And I think the community is definitely behind you. Talk to me about obviously you hear the idea on Shark Tank, and then I'm sure, you take that, so the seed is planted, right? And
Yes.
And then, so where do you go from there? Tell me what the idea behind Kitty Brew is, and then explain that to our audience.
So the idea was that we wanted to get cats homes, period, but we also wanted to be customer based too. We didn't want to say like, oh, customers are more important than the cats, or cats are more important than the customers. We wanted to do both of those very well simultaneously. And I think I only have 5 employees, but I tell you what, those girls will go to bat for these animals. They treat them like gold. So that was the idea. It was also to bring awareness to how important it is to spay and neuter, and educating people along the way, and just introducing cats to people that maybe have never had them or had misconceptions about them, because we've had lots of dog people come in here and they leave with a cat. So, those kinds of things are really cool. So that's what we wanted to do. And what we've been able to do here in Mason, I don't think we could duplicate anywhere else. Like, the community is just amazing. We'll have families come in that get 2 or 3 cats from us, and they'll send us pictures. These cats go and get photo shoots. I mean, some of these guys were literally plucked from a gutter, or hit by cars or left by their owners. Like, some of these guys have went through serious trauma, and then they get a family that's never going to do them wrong. So, and I think when you help animals, you're helping people. It's not one or the other. These cats, it's not, I don't want to take credit. The cats bring a lot of joy to people, and that's what's important. So
that's great. So let's say someone wants to come in and visit you down at Kitty Brew. What can someone expect when they come in?
Oh my goodness. Amazing drinks. All of our coffee beans, they're organic, fair trade, and they're locally roasted by Seven Hills Roasters and Blue Ash. Our baristas are really knowledgeable. They know all kinds of cool flavor combos, and they're just the sweetest, nicest girls you could ever, want to hang out with. They're just really chill people. So, we do charge a fee. The $10 that people pay for the hour goes directly to these cats. We're not a 501c3, but literally every dollar goes back into the business. It goes back to the cats, their food, their litter. We buy medications, like the furniture, all that kind of stuff. So that's why we charge a fee. That's how we survive. So sure. They come in and spend the hour, and they can expect to be entertained. We have some cats that are I'm looking at one of them right now that's just distracting me. But they're going to see them playing, or they're going to see them sleeping. They'll get cuddles, they'll get interaction with them, and then just feel good. Nobody leaves here with a frown on their face. Everybody is just smiling. We've had people that just Google like coffee near me, and they come in and they're like, wait, what is that next door? And I had one gentleman say, I'm going over there. Take all my money. People are smiling over there. I want to see what this is all about. So, just to feel warm and know that your money is helping these animals find their forever home. And in less than 2 years, we've done 1,145 adoptions.
Wow. So, and where are most of your kitty cats coming from?
So we get them from 5 rescues. Animal Friends Humane Society. That's my. I wouldn't be here without them. So they have an amazing TNR program in Butler County, and that's how I got involved. So those guys, Paws Cause, Heart, and His Hands Extended Sanctuary, and we just recently started working with Claremont County Care Center.
Okay, and most of these cats, like you said, are being rescued from abusive owners. There's some of them, I would assume, are strays, correct?
Yeah, well, the bulk of them are strays for sure.
Okay, and then so you all are taking them in, getting them cleaned up, getting them spayed and neutered, getting them their shots, and getting them ready to go out and find a new family.
Yeah, the rescues are the ones they're the ones that do the dirty work. They're the ones getting them out of the situations, or driving to high kill facilities in, I can't say it properly, rural areas where they don't have the resource. My grandma would be laughing because that's the only word that she could pronounce that I couldn't. So, they're driving to West Virginia. They're driving to Kentucky to these shelters that don't have any help. So they're pulling them from death row. So they're the ones that do all the vetting, but we provide their care. If they do need medications, we administer meds. They're free range. The only time they're in a cage is if we suspect an illness. So, and then the rescues come and get them right away. So they're free roaming. We have live stream at kittybrew.com. You can see them 24/7. Around 5 a.m. it gets pretty wild in here. So
is that the feeding time?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, I don't even watch it anymore because I'm like, oh, there go my good paper towels just, rolled out in the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's great.
So how can when you guys, when you thought about this idea, how are you getting this out to consumers right now? Obviously I love to be able to do this because, I support our Great Mason community here, and I feel like what you're doing is really good. But for those watching this and those people that want to get involved, what are some of the best ways to help you guys?
The best way to help us, first of all, if you have an animal that's not spayed or neutered, please do so. That's the first way you can help. You know, people leave us donations all the time. Food, litter, you know, blankets, those kinds of things, that helps. Just coming in and buying a cat pass or stopping in and getting a coffee or a frap, you know, that's how, you know, you best support us as well. People will take donations directly for the other rescues. So if somebody drops something off for Paws Cause or Animal Friends, we make sure that organization gets, you know, what people drop off. And then telling everybody about us. We're a little hard to find if you haven't been here before. People in Mesa know where El Caporal and, you know, B-dubs are. They don't realize there's a backside to the building. So just telling people like, hey, it exists. I know it sounds unbelievable, but you just drive around the back of the building, and we're kind of tucked behind, you know, with a really cool green space. So, you know, word of mouth is how we're doing the most. Facebook and Instagram, those kind of things. That's how we're, you know, reaching people. And then anybody wants to talk to me about it, I'll talk to people about it.
Yeah.
So I'm blue in the face.
You're so gracious and jumping on with me today, and I so appreciate that. What's your favorite drink?
My favorite drink, I'm low key basic. I just love a vanilla and cinnamon soy latte with 3 shots, steamed to 130. I never drank coffee until I opened Kitty Brew, so now I'm like very particular.
Now you're a connoisseur.
Yeah, but the #1 drink we sell is our tuxedo, and it's a frap. So it's like a frozen blended drink with 3 Oreos. We put coffee in it, and there's vanilla, and it's decorated. It's amazing. So that's the one we sell the most of. Yeah, it's really good.
Really, really good. Now, have you ever let the cats try the coffee?
Oh goodness, no. But now goodness, no. But we've had a few cats. Tinkerbell, she got adopted finally. I don't know how many muffins I had to replace or how many drinks, because she would just shove her paw right into the dome lid and scoop out whipped cream. We've had a few that are just they're bad. We try to teach them manners. They don't listen. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hilarious, man. So talk to me a little bit about the adoption process, because I'm sure people are very curious about that. I mean, obviously you do a lot of adoptions. So when someone comes in to adopt a cat, what does the process look like?
So we have our application online, and then we have hard copies here, and we got permission from Animal Friends to use their application. They've been placing animals for over 50 years. So we went to the experts, and we look at things like, you know, we confirm your address. If you own, great. If you rent, I just need to talk to the person that owns the property that it's okay for people to have animals. We don't want to get, you know, we don't want to make anybody mad. You know, a landlord is specific, and then we send one home. So we check that stuff out. We will do vet checks. We want to make sure that the animals that are living in the home are fixed, you know, spayed or neutered and, you know, vaccinated, those kinds of things. So those are the 2 big things that we look at. And then we look to make sure that they're going to keep their cat indoors, that they have resources or access to resources to get medical attention for them. And then we look at, you know, have they owned an animal before? That doesn't mean you're not going to get one, but do we need to spend a little bit more time telling people what to expect as far as daily care? And then we really get to know people after them spending an hour in here, you know, just seeing them interact with them. So, you know, that 10 years as a public servant, I get kind of nosy. So I do my homework on the applications. We don't just, you know, give them to anybody. So it could take, you know, more than 24 hours if we have to wait for a landlord or a vet to call us back. But a lot of times we can do them same day. The adoption fees, we collect that and send every bit of it back to the rescue. We don't keep any money from those adoption fees. That goes right back to the 5 rescues. So, and then everybody gets a picture for Facebook. That's our favorite part.
That's awesome. Yeah. You guys post that on the Facebook page, I would assume.
Yes. So I think right now I'm about 4 or 5 behind on posting them. We probably did 15 adoptions last weekend. So last weekend was a really good one. Yeah.
Talk about the pet pass, because I know you mentioned that before. That's where you come in and pay the $10, and then you can spend, you know, X amount of time in the room with the kids?
Yep. So you pay the $10. There's tax associated. It's $10.70 afterwards, and it gives you an hour. We do have student rates for $7. Military veterans are $7, and seniors are $7. And then on Wednesdays, anybody under 18 is $5. We let kids of all ages come in as long as they're well supervised. So they can pay that, and then we do a monthly like membership. If you pay $40, you can come in unlimited 1-hour visits daily. So we've got quite a few people that have signed up for that, and then they'll come in and do their work or just hang out. A lot of people just like to come in and have some quiet time. So yeah.
That is so cool. Well, I was just fascinated by the idea, because I was one of those people actually that had Googled coffee near me, and you all came up and you had excellent reviews.
Yes.
Obviously you're in our great community of Mason here, and was just completely taken aback with the idea and in meeting you. I'm curious, you mentioned, obviously you've settled in Mason, right? But what was it about Mason that where you decided, I'm doing it here. This is the perfect place for me?
I'm trying to think of the exact moment that I realized it. I think I kept my search in Butler County because Animal Friends, that's where they're located. And, we didn't want them to be driving all over to get us cats. But we literally just crossed over, the Butler County, Warren County line, and found the property. And most of the landlords I talked to were like, no, either they're like, well, it's going to smell. That was the first thing. And I get it. I don't want somebody coming into my house and making it atrocious. So like, I get it. But they had their misconceptions about, what we were trying to do. So we came out here, found 2 spaces right next to each other, which was perfect for, the health department. We didn't want to have anything commingled. And I talked to the property owner, and he's hilarious. He's like, "You're going to have cats there?" I said, "Yeah." "You going to keep it clean?" I said, "Absolutely." And he said, "Well, why don't you come on down tomorrow and I'll show it to you." Mike and Jerry, they're just, they're really, really good people, funny. And they could tell that we were going to take care of, their area. We weren't going to have it messy or, unkempt. Like we want to get rid of, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. We want people to know that you can keep them clean and everything's going to be great. So yeah, so they were great. And then I called the building and zoning department the next day, and I can't recall the young lady's name that helped me out, but she sent me all the paperwork, and I just had to I talked to every neighbor in this building to make sure that they were okay with it. And of course they were worried about allergies, like normal things that people would worry about. Right. But luckily all the HVAC units are separate for each unit. And so they all signed, I made a little paper and they all signed it. And I went to the meeting and presented my idea very nervously in front of the board. And they were like, "Okay, you can do it." So I ugly cried on the way home back to Fairfield, and we started to get to work from there.
Man, you've put in a lot of work to make all this happen, haven't you?
Yes.
I mean, I don't think people realize that, how much work actually you've put in to make this dream a reality, and you've definitely done that. So let me ask you this: Is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have, or anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think we covered everything.
Okay.
I think so.
Well, like I said before, I was so happy to get an opportunity to stop down there, and I'm a latte guy.
Yes.
And the latte there was fabulous, by the way, and I so enjoyed my time there. And I will definitely be back in. And I just want to say thank you to you, not only for what you're doing for the community here at Mason, but also obviously what you're doing for all the cats out there who, are having, challenges finding a home or a family, and being able to support them, and in doing that, and then through all that, having an opportunity to live out your dream. So thank you so much.
No, thank you so much. Thank you. And the community of Mason. I couldn't ask for better people.
Well, we're excited to have you, and certainly I will be back in there, and thank you so much again for what you're doing.
Hey, no problem. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Do I hit stop camera?
Yeah, you